When you get into the documentary arena and you get into this contemporary political history, you risk getting blowback for
Yep.
portraying Sarah Palin in a certain way, or portraying maybe some Bush economists.
Yep.
How does that enter into your commercial
You know,
calculus?
well, it doesn't. First of all, our animating principle is it a good story?
Mm-hmm.
And it is a story which we think will be compelling for our audience. The second thing we do, which is a little bit unusual, but which has very much been a part of our overarching gestalt for a long time, is we bring in the principals. They don't have veto power. When we did Recount, I sat with Secretary Baker and I said, look, we may disagree about the interpretation of this story, but here's the script. And, Mr. Secretary, if you think there's anything in here that is historically untrue, I want to know about it. And we did the same thing with Ron Klain, who was in charge of, Al Gore's campaign. We said, have we screwed anything up? And when we did a rough cut of the movie, we brought it before everybody. And we said, same thing with Too Big to Fail. We sat with Paulson, we sat with people, we gave the script to Chairman Bernanke, and we said, we're not asking you to agree with every poetic license that the dramatist takes. We're simply asking you to be tough with us if we have made any factual mistakes and factual errors. And that we do with full transparency. And I think that's why it was very interesting in Game Change, not to speak in derogation of Sarah Palin, but when Sarah Palin heard about the movie,
Yeah.
she went into a paroxysm, and the right wing stirred it all up. And we kept saying to people, watch the movie. And John McCain went on Letterman, and Letterman said to McCain, Letterman or Leno, I can't remember. Letterman and Leno said to McCain, did you see the movie? And McCain said, I'm not going to see that movie, liberal Hollywood bullshit, I'm not going to do it. And Letterman said, you should watch the movie, Senator, and you should send those people a case of wine, because
yeah, he comes off pretty well.
In fact, the only criticism that I heard blowing back to us about Game Change is we were too soft on John McCain.
Do you have any favorite quibbles that people have had with any of your contemporary political history?
Well, one of my quibbles was with Baker, which was quite amusing, because I liked him very, very. He has a well-earned reputation for charm and the ability to be extremely persuasive about his interpretation of how history should be viewed. And so we got all the way through this very difficult process, and we came to the end, and then we came to the Chiron that was going to be the coda to the film, where we, of course, said there was different interpretive data depending upon how you counted
and he took issue with
And I
that.
sent him, he said, nah, Richard, I'm afraid I just can't, side with that, anything that implies that the president. And, of course, we cited, all the reporting, including Times reporting, that made clear that it did depend how you counted the votes. But most of the time, all of our principals have been extremely supportive of the work we've done. I think because we've leaned into them, and we've tried to get it as close to accurate as possible. But the implication of your question is right. You got to be very careful, because if you mess it up, particularly contemporary history, you got a lot of witnesses to challenge you.